Hello, welcome to the final day of the bootcamp course. Today, we are glad to have Mr. Steve, who is the partner of Dora Hacks, to give us some advice from the perspective of venture capitals. So, hello, Mr. Steve.
Hi, Kevin.
Yeah, could you just start whenever you are ready?
Yeah, sure. Hey guys, thank you, Binance. Before it's BSC, right now it's BNB chain team, and also our brilliant ChainIDE team, for having me, to share my 2 cents on like startups and how um like I know you guys are graduating from this program. So a lot of you are at the stage that you're growing this project, and the next step will be you will be uh, taking your project to product market fit. You will be taking your project to your first or second fundraise. You will be taking your market to the general public. So today I was asked to speak on behalf of Dora Hacks. We are a startup community ourselves, to introduce a bit more on, like, from the venture capital's perspective, a few to share my 2 cents on how do we see projects and how do they see projects, and what's needed, what are some of the necessary traits to introduce your project and your team to the venture capitalist in the Web3 world. So you guys just got out of the incubation program. A lot of the other mentors or like guests may have shed lights on um, how to bring your project to the next level, how to take your project to the next level, how to achieve product market fit and everything. So actually when a project get out of incubation program, what are the next steps are today my I guess biggest topic to share, and I was given a full hour to introduce. Um, so I will just share my 4 years of experience running a startup myself, running Dora Hacks and a few projects we incubated. And there are actually a lot of the projects came out of the Dora Hacks community, because Dora Hacks community is actually a community of startup founders. I believe there are at least 2,000 startups that emerged from the Dora Hacks community. So yeah, so before I start, I will just introduce a bit more about Dora Hacks so that you guys can have a little bit more understanding of who we are and why do we have this kind of experience to share with you guys. So Dora Hacks is actually a 7-year-old company. Uh, it is relatively old compared with most of the Web3 companies in the space. Um, there are a lot of the projects and companies are actually far more successful than Dora Hacks, but they're way younger. For instance, Binance is actually established in 2017, and FTX is even later, is 2019. But Dora is actually older than most of them. Dora is actually it started off as a small hacker community and hacker organization in 2014, and we were one of the first or hackathon organizer and one of the first hacker community organizer in Asia. Back in Asia, back in that time, nobody in Asia was talking about hacker movement and open source movement and everything. But Dora Hack started to run the very first collegiate hackathons and developer meetups and everything starting from 2014. We talked about cloud computing, commercial space engineering, IoT, fintech, AI, and blockchain all the way back in 2014. Um, So we find out a lot of brilliant hackers throughout this whole period. Yep, and starting in 2018, 2017-ish, we find out there are a lot of developers in our community who are building actively on blockchain. And this is where we started to dive into Web3 and blockchain technology. So so a few really interesting things I want to share is that we started to go global in 2018 after we became the largest hackathon organizer in 2017. And in 2018, when we hosted those hackathons, blockchain hackathons globally in the United States, we hosted 7 hackathons. In 2018, we hosted hackathons in Canada, in Germany, in UK, in all of those places. And some of you might not know, but actually the Polygon team or the previous Matic team, we met them, I think 3 months ahead of anyone. We met them October 2018 in Bangalore, India, in a hackathon that we hosted ourselves. It was one of the largest hackathon that we hosted. And I do have a few cool photos to share with you guys, if they allow me to, but I'll just share it with you guys real quick. Anyways, yeah, I should be back. Yeah, hi Kevin. I was just trying to change the background. I have a really cool picture of the Bangalore hackathon that's showing up here. Just right now, I think people can't see me there. Yep, Tiana, you want to check? I can't see myself on the screen right now. Can you guys see me? Okay, that's cool. I can't see myself on the screen, but anyways, awesome. So I was talking about how we met the Matic team in the Bangalore hackathon we hosted. So Matic was actually one of the 4 teams in India back in 2018 that are actually building in the blockchain space. So that was when they were only, I think, around $5 million valuation or something. The other 3 projects were SpringRoll, Monex, and Portis. So Portis is actually an Israeli wallet company. So yeah, so this is Dora is actually a grassroots innovation hub where we hosted those hackathons and all kinds of hacker events to provide all kinds of services around this startup community, startup founder community. And so we started doing this for the blockchain community, especially in 2017, and this lasted all the way till today, where we are curating hackerlink.io. It is the largest multi-chain developer grant platform. So we help developers get grants via our on-chain quadratic funding. Since we have partnered with 27 plus ecosystems like Polygon, Solana, Avalanche, and everyone, multi-chain ecosystems. And we help 2,000 projects like you guys raise $20 million in grants and donations in the past few months, in the past few years. And yeah, so so this is why we have been helping a lot of the startup founders, because there's actually a lot uh, that has emerged in the past few years, and um, a lot of them actually, like you guys, face the same problem. So how can we grow faster? And do I need the help of venture capitalists? Who are the venture capitalists? And there are so sorry, there are so many VCs out there. Who are the good ones? Who are not? Will they actually provide the help they promised? Or will they actually become our adversaries for some reason? They invest in us, but in the future will become enemies. Will that happen? So those are the questions that we get asked a lot. So I'll try to like explain. So what are the next steps for a project to grow? And some of the key topics I will be mentioning about will be about fundraise, will be about marketing, will be about recruiting, and also will be about how to engage more with the developer community. This is where Dora hacks are best at. So, so first, it's actually about fundraise. Um, it's actually hard to fundraise with the right people, with the right partner. It's always hard, and it's particularly hard in the bear market because brilliant projects like Polygon, they are stressed. They are very stressed to get any fundraise in 2018 because that was the bottom of the bear market. Nobody wants to invest in a project that they never heard of that came out of India. So it's already very challenging for such a brilliant team like Matic and Polygon themselves, let alone like you guys, right? And this lasted all the way till 2019. So in 2019, a lot of the projects are already like billion-dollar unicorns right now that some of you guys might heard of, including Mask, Mask Network, Phyla, and there are a lot of projects that could even, like Akala, they couldn't even raise funding at $1 million market cap. There, because right now you have heard news that this project is raised at $50 million market cap. They raised 10 million. This project just raised 50 million at $1 billion market cap. You must really cannot understand what it means for a project to not raise any kind of money at at $1 million market cap. But this happens in the bear market. So if you go into a bear market cycle, you can find out that investment is not that active. So my first advice would be timing will be very important for you. So there are some good money, but there are some bad money. But overall, if you really need money, money is neutral. Money is there. You have a chance to raise funding, raise it quick, raise it fast. This is a hedge against the bear market because actually, if the market is because the market is volatile, the market can go up, the market can go down. Right now, is we're at like a very tricky point of the time of the market. So time the market is actually very important for any of the startup founders. You'll have an idea and you have a chance to monetize. My advice to be, if you really need the funding to realize your idea, you need to hire a team. You need to set up the initial arrangements. Then you have a chance to raise. You just go ahead and raise it. Don't worry too much. And actually, you don't. You can raise this funding from the VCs. You can also raise this funding from the public. You can do a small token sale on some of the IDO platforms. That's actually okay. You don't actually need to raise funding from ventures. So this will be my first suggestion. My first suggestion will be to raise funding and to time the market. This is the first topic about fundraise. The second topic about fundraise is if you have the luxury or if you have the chance to decide who are the partners that I should have. Like if you are, because some projects, they are relatively mature and they have already proven some part of the product market fit, and like they already grow their community to a certain scale and they become a hot project and they can select the venture capitalists. I think there are a few points just like for your reference on who to partner with. So essentially you want to work with a partner that is long-term, that is not just trying to make money from you, but are trying to build this product together with you. So first, identify what's some of the most crucial resources that you're lacking inside of your team, because these venture capitals can become your external team partners. For instance, you're particularly strong at marketing, but you somehow lack BD resources, then you need to find a project with strong portfolio that can connect their portfolio with you, connect their resources with you, so you can actually grow really fast with their help. And some of you guys are extremely strong on the technical side, but you're not so strong in marketing. Then you need some venture capital with great marketing resources. For instance, who can help you reach out to hundreds of KOLs globally, who can help you connect with the right agencies and vendors, who can help you market properly. Those are the other side. So look for this long term, and how to verify is that you can check in with other founders and you can check in with other VCs to do background due diligence, background check of those ventures, because some ventures can promise some really, really sweet words with you, but in the future I find out that they cannot really like realize the promises they made. Yeah, so those are the second things to check if they are long term and if they are solid. You can do this with by checking with other fellow startup founders who got their investment. I think that would be the best way. And second is that to cross-reference from the industry. So those are the those are my 2 cents on venture capitalists. Yeah. So, and there's actually a lot of the ways that you can choose. From Dora's perspective, we actually managed to raise $6 to $7 million privately, and we also did a public sale. And the public sale, we did a balancer liquidity bootstrap program, and we raised $10 million from the public sale. So in general, just to fundraise for our project, we secured $16 to $18 million in 2 months' time, which I think was a relatively good result short term, because we timed the market. We raised this funding in March 2021, and that was the first peak of the first bull market. Bitcoin reached $64,000. So the choices that we made from like back then is to time the market. So we did well on the first topic I mentioned, is that we raised funding as fast as we could, and we raised from as many ventures as we could, and also did a public sale. So we also raised funding from the public. So we timed the private market, we timed the public market. Thus, we timed for ourselves, which is pretty cool. And for the second point, a little bit like regret we had is that we didn't select the best partners, I would say, to partner with, and the best investors who are really long term with us, that continues to build with us. And we also didn't have sufficient timing to due diligence, like their backgrounds and everything. But actually, as a startup founder, if you can manage to do well on either of the sides, you're already very successful. Um, and you if you if you happen to do well both on both points, then you are better than, I would say, 99% of the other funders on the fundraise side. So yeah, this is my advice for the startup founders on the fundraise side. Yeah, so on the second part is that other than the fundraise, what's really important for your project? So on a lot of the fronts, a good adoption of the vendors would relieve a lot of stress from your core team's shoulders. For instance, let's talk about marketing. So marketing really isn't that important if you don't have a product market fit yet. But let's just say you have designed a really, really cool project and you want to launch it, then proper marketing is very important. So there are different vendors that can help on different fronts, and especially there are different vendors regionally. Like there are PR agencies in Vietnam, in Korea, in Russia, in Turkey, all those places, in China, to properly market your project. And you just need to offer a small fee to them, and you can achieve really great PR results locally. Yeah, but my first advice for all of you is to try to recruit a really, really good CMO at the very beginning of the project, because marketing is actually the core of every crypto project. So if you want to communicate well with your users, if you want to communicate well with the team, then I think to have a really, really cool CMO, a trustworthy CMO, a really powerful CMO is very important for any of the successful projects. Yeah, a lot of you guys didn't realize, but actually Vitalik is the CMO for Ethereum to some extent, because Vitalik largely speak for Ethereum, and Ethereum don't promote itself in the way the other projects promote themselves. Some of the projects, they promote fundamentals, promote the data, the TVL, and the active users and everything. But Vitalik promotes, I think, like high level, much more high level things, like what's the for instance, like Ethereum is neutral. How can we support the general blockchain technology? How can we scale Ethereum to a better status? How can we use Ethereum to solve some of the real Web2 world problems? So a lot of things around that. But go back to our topic today is to have some really, really good CMO candidates to support you to promote your project properly, and let this CMO to assemble a team for you of internal, really, really good marketers and external vendor forces who can help you promote your project properly globally. So that's very important for your project to do on marketing. Yeah. What else? So getting back to engage with the developer community. So essentially, there are a few different type of communities that you are working with if you're building a project. So first is who are the actual users of the product. For instance, for Binance, it's actually the traders. There are institutional traders, there are retail traders. The traders are the core of Binance ecosystem. But now Binance actually have BNB chain. And also BNB chain ecosystem is a very big part of the Binance ecosystem as well. And who are the BNB chain engaging with? And they're actually engaging with the developers. So developers are actually a very big part of the Web3 community as well. Whatever project that you are building on actually involves developers in some way. If you are a layer 1 blockchain, then you need developers to build new applications in your ecosystem. If you are building on a project like Chainlink, or you're building a project like a DeFi project, you actually want some developers to build powerful tools to scale your project to different like other sectors of this industry, or to provide more powerful services to the developers. Pretty much like scaling your product so that you can fit more needs. So this is why actually engaging with developers is actually very important. Yep. And this is where actually DoraHacks can help a lot. We have launched this platform, hackerlink.io, and we're trying to provide grants to brilliant developers like you guys. I'll try to like present my screen here for a bit. Let me know if you guys can see this. Yeah, so essentially what we do is that this is a big platform for all the startup founders. You can actually find a lot of the new projects here. And this is a project where developers get grants. So if you come out to our platform, you can find out there's a grant for Avalanche, there's a grant for Solana that's going on. There's East Denver hackathon that just happened on our platform, starting from February to 20th. The whole DoraHacks team was there to support. There were 171 projects submitted, and there were 9 tracks. And there are different projects participating in different tracks. If you can go and check their projects. And also on our platform, there are a lot of really cool bounties to tackle. So essentially, another thing you can do is that you can scale your project to different ecosystems. One of the ways that if you're building on Ethereum, but not necessarily your project will thrive in the Ethereum community, because there are some natural problems, the gas fee, the competition, and the user adoption. For instance, if you are an e-commerce project, pretty much if you're in the United States, Algorand and Avalanche might be better options for you compared with Ethereum. And if you are in Southeast Asia and Africa, probably BNB chain is better. So a way to really scale your project early stage may be to apply for different grants on the DoraHacks platform. That could be really helpful. You can apply for the Avalanche grant and deploy a version of your project on Avalanche. And what we provide is that we help promote your project to the whole Avalanche and DoraHacks community, which will be great because in this process, you can get some grants. You can properly market your project. You can recruit in those sessions, introducing yourselves. You can engage with the community. You can engage with the Avalanche community, the DoraHacks community, so that you can build your own community. You can also engage with your own community to involve them to vote for you in those different grants. So for instance, for the Avalanche grant, we're actually using Avalanche token, AVX, that your community supporters can actually vote AVAX tokens to you. So this is where you can introduce your project. We allow you to introduce your project's vision, your project description, and the team information, like who's on our team, what are they doing, what are they working on. If you click into their individual profile, you can actually see that this guy built this project, this is his GitHub link. Yeah, which is pretty cool. And you can find all the amazing workshops here in the Dora Hacks YouTube channel. You can find the Avalanche workshops. You can find the Polygon workshops, Harmony workshops. They're all here. Yep. And also, I was talking about the I was talking about the hackathon we hosted in Bangalore, India. I'm just going to show you guys. Yep, this was our hackathon, and the Matic co-founder will be speaking in a few seconds, if I'm not wrong. So this is the CEO and founder of Portis. And this is the co-founder and CPO, Anurag. He's actually the co-founder of Matic Network, now Polygon. He was a partner of the hackathon. Yep. So yeah, let's just go back. Awesome. So pretty much this is what I really want to share with you guys. I chatted about fundraise. I chatted about marketing. I chatted about some part of recruiting with you guys. So when it comes back to what a VC sees in an early stage project, I'm gonna share a bit more on this right now. So when a VC sees a project, it's a new project, right? So what really makes the decision is actually are you building something really innovative? So in general, there are two kind of deals that the VCs are investing in. The first is called innovation deals. Innovation deals are genuine innovations that the industry has never seen. You build something that has never been seen in this industry. No one designed this product earlier than you. You build something really unique. So this is what we call an innovation project. This project is relatively more sexy than the rest of the projects. For instance, if you build a really cool DAO infrastructure project in 2 years ago, that will be really sexy. But if you build a DAO right now, you can see there are a lot of DAOs already out there, right? So it's no longer innovative anymore. And the second kind of project we see is globalization projects. Globalization means that somebody already built this and they were successful. And if I duplicate the idea and we migrate it into a new market, I can probably succeed as well. Pretty much like how PayPal was successful in the United States and globally. Now we have Alipay and WeChat Pay and GrabPay in Southeast Asia. And you have a chance to invest in those projects, you just invest in them because you already know that there's nothing too different from PayPal. PayPal is already very successful. In the Web3 world, pretty much like there's a Uniswap in the Ethereum community, then there's PancakeSwap in the BNB community. There's Trader Joe, and there's other projects in other ecosystems. There's Compound and Aave in the Ethereum community. Then there's 15 lending protocols in the Solana ecosystem, and you can just select the best one and invest in them. So this is what we call globalization opportunities. If you're a hacker, we genuinely hope that you are building on some innovative products. If you are doing that, that's really, really great. You are actually supporting this industry to go forward, to move forward. But this doesn't apply to all the startup founders. If you're a startup founder that's not so strong at innovating, but you're extremely strong in business and marketing and everything, it's never wrong to work on a globalization project. You can still be successful. You can still build a really, really successful globalization project by providing a really, really unique service and improve it. Because like you can say that there's a lot of problem with the existing product, and I will do something that's so much better than them, which is also okay. There's still a chance to do that. So when a VC sees a project like you guys, first thing you see is that are you an innovation project or are you a globalization project? And so this is the first question. The second question is that, okay, you're building this project. What is your competitive edge? What's your why is your team unique to solve this problem? Because there's a problem and there's a solution, but you need to prove that you are the solution to this problem. You are the best solution to this problem. If you manage to convince the VCs about this, then you're not so far from success. Um, so some of the questions I suggest you to ask yourself is that, are you facing any kind of competition when you're building this project? If you are, who are your competitors? And and why are you better than your competitors? If you find something to build on with no competitors, congratulations, you are not so far from success. If you have competition, then it's pretty hard to justify you're relatively better than the others at the very early stage. You have to do it by building a really cool product, and also need to have a very strong team to compete and to win. Um, yeah. So this is about the questions the VCs will ask. The other questions are relatively simple. Who's on your team? Who are the co-founders? What's the co-founder's background? Are you guys young? Are you guys experienced? Did you guys succeeded in previous startup experiences? Or like, have you worked a relatively long time in this sector, industry sector focused works? Um, yeah, so those are the problems. Um, at least I had when I like started like Dora Hacks, like when I joined Dora Hacks and managed to run Dora Hacks. Yeah. So let me see if I can think of like something else to share with you guys. Yeah. So what are some of the trends that we are interested in 2022? We think in general this industry will move forward. There will be more sophisticated DeFi protocols. It's already pretty sophisticated, but what are the next steps for innovation in DeFi? There has to be some really unique protocols that will go into details into the financial world. We're very bullish on NFTs as well. You already see many successful NFT projects out there. We don't think NFT platform is going to be a big opportunity anymore, but I think innovative NFT projects and ways to play with NFT and star IPs joining the Web3 space are still going to happen. in 2022. So very bullish on NFT as well, because it's a very different community, and is one of the most it's one of the best community because it brings people outside of the Web3 world into Web3, which is great. We are extremely bullish on DAOs. We are big bettors on DAOs ourselves. We incubated Dora Factory. Dora Factory is a DAO as a service infrastructure. We'll have plans to grow Dora Factory to an ecosystem where there will be more projects providing services to DAOs and to hacker projects who will become DAOs in the future. So interesting DAO schemes, interesting DAO toolings, infrastructures, interesting DAO projects themselves. We are big bettors that there will be more interesting DAOs that are actually solving real world problems, changing the way people coordinate with each other. There will be better toolings than Aragon and Colony and all the existing DAO infrastructures. Even Gnosis, you can see that there are more projects building on Gnosis Safe, trying to solve the UI, trying to solve the user interaction problems already, which are great. We are closely monitoring what's going on in the DAO world. We're also very bullish in GameFi because a few really, really good investments we made in 2021 was GameFi projects. It's a very unique economy as well. And I think that the industry has a consensus right now that the current play to earn model needs a more sustainable upgrade version. And we'll be able to see some really, really cool, high quality 3A level gaming projects emerge in the next few months or in the next few years. And more interesting schemes to be introduced other than the traditional Axie Infinity and C9 Arena projects, which are great projects, great innovation projects. Yeah, last but not least is that we think that if we can scale Ethereum, because one of the trends we see in East Denver is that there's already application level zero knowledge implementation. So ZK is becoming a trend to be implemented into building applications, not just infrastructures. And so scaling Ethereum layer 2 and ZK solutions, you can see a lot of the interesting applications could come in the in the next few months or in the next few years. Yep, that's about the trend people are closely monitoring, and we think cross-chain will be big because there's multi-chain already. Multi-chain is already a trend. How to cross assets to different chains is a huge pain in the ass right now. There are no decentralized solution that is safe. There are no centralized solution that is safe. So it's pretty painful. So cross-chain solutions and cross-chain applications still matters. Another thing for a startup founder to worry about might be which ecosystem that you rely on the most. Do you stick with Ethereum? Do you stick with Binance? Do you stick with Cosmos? Do you stick with Polkadot? Different chains essentially have different utilities, different user base, and different type of application that it supports best. So before you decide to deploy your application on whichever chain, because there are so many projects out there say, hey, I just deployed on 17 different chains to support them. It doesn't really make too much sense if you're not like a general universal application that just like works for you to deploy on so many chains. Or like for most of the applications, I think essentially you have to choose one playground that fits best, like that works best for you. So, yep. So which ecosystem to choose from is also very important. Yep. So to summarize what I just mentioned today, and I'll just call it a day. So actually, before you go to a startup, go to a venture capital to raise funding, you can actually raise different kind of grants that you can raise from different ecosystems that you want to build your project on. Go to Dora Hacks, go to hackerlink.io, the page I just showed you guys. There's a lot of grants that you can apply for. There could be thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars that could really put your project forward for a few months, even a few years, if you are very like budget smart. But when actually you will reach this stage, say, hey, I want to scale my project, I need to raise funding privately. So first, I mentioned about how you should time the market. You should raise more in the bull market. You should raise relatively smaller amount in the bear market, and also need to raise fast. Money is neutral. You just need to get the money and try to do that as fast as you can. But also you need to time the market by selecting long-term partners for your project. You need to do background check and due diligence for the potential investors you're about to have. And I also mentioned about what is the proper way to do marketing, what is the proper way to recruit. I also talked about how Dora Hacks can help. So essentially, Dora Hacks want to help all the startup founders like you guys. If you have any problem or questions or resources that you need, you can reach out to me. You can find me on Telegram. My handle is Steve Dora, with no space in between. It's relatively easy to find. And yeah, essentially, we would love to support developers by helping you get grants and helping you become the next unicorn. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it. My sharing for today. Thank you, Calvin, Tiana, for having me. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Steve, for the greatest speech I've ever heard about it. You talked about a lot of your experience in funding projects, and I would really glad to hear that you talk about fundraising, partnership, marketing, and some and like recruitment things. I have a question for you, and which is I'm very curious about. Because you just talk about like people if they want to start a project, they have to focus on two questions. Like first is if your project is or your idea is innovative, or the second would be if your team is competitive or if your team is unique. And for the VCs, and I mean, if you are looking into a project, these two questions, which one you are prefer to have more like quantity? I mean, if it's half or which one is more important?
So if a VC is already talking to you, he somehow thinks that the project or the sector that you are building on, for instance, you're building a lending protocol. If this VC already believes that the lending protocol competitive landscape is very saturated, he won't actually speak to you at all because Compound and Aave is already there.
Yep.
And makes no sense for a new project to come in and compete with them with no significant innovation that everyone knows of in the space. So if someone's already talking to you, it means that they're already interested in your topic. And when they are speaking to you, they first want to understand that where are you at? Are you on the same page with me on believing that this is a golden opportunity? And what is your opinion on the market? And second is that you need to convince me that your team is actually the best team solving those. So if you're already having this conversation with the VC, then I think the second problem is most important. They already think that you are building on something that's worthy of investment, they're just having this conversation with you to decide whether they invest the money into your team or the other team that they might run into in the future. So I think when you're already having this conversation, the second question is more important.
All right, thanks. Also talking about the NFT marketplace, we have like those greatest projects out there. For example, the Azuki, that's is just a new blue chip project. What's your opinions on those NFT projects? Do you think like VCs will just put more efforts or more uh, money on those NFT projects, or more looking into those infrastructures?
Yeah, so I think both really, really cool new IPs and infrastructure level projects are all great. Essentially, um, when a VC invests in those projects, we think of how large is the market. For instance, if you are, for instance, actually, I think NFT infrastructure is essentially a bigger market than any of the individual NFT project because a really good infrastructure hosts those projects, and all of the trading proceeds half will be split into uh, the NFT creation teams. For instance, if you trade Azuki on OpenSea, 2.5 of the royalty goes to the Azuki team, 2.5 of the trading fee goes to OpenSea. But
Yep.
OpenSea hosts like thousands of different projects. They also host BAYC and Amphers or like Azukis and CryptoPunks. So OpenSea have the most transaction volume. OpenSea have the most trading proceeds. I believe the top was like thousands of ETHs in a few weeks, in a few days, which is crazy. So essentially, I think OpenSea is a better business model than Azuki project because Azuki project, if wants to like prove themselves that they are better teams than OpenSea, I think they will need to create new Azuki projects on a very fast pace, and they also need to launch the Bean token out. It has to be really successful, and the team has to hold a big chunk of it. But essentially, I think both Azuki and OpenSea are successful projects, and it's pretty hard to build a new NFT infrastructure to compete with OpenSea right now. Even if there's Look Rare, there's Super Rare, there's other projects. Um, I also think it's extremely rare to build a project that's even more successful than Azuki because I think essentially BAYC is more successful than Azuki already. But sorry, but I also think Azuki is very successful already, and it's pretty hard to run a new crypto project, NFT project is more successful than them. So, so if you ask me right now, I think different VCs will have different tastes, whether to invest in a NFT creation studio, like a Zuki team, uh, or like I think general investors will be more interested in investing in NFT infrastructures right now. But it also is relevant with the stage of the market because people are crazily investing in NFT infrastructure from early 2019 to early 2021. But I think most of the people right now are investing in NFT studios like Yuga Labs and Azuki's studio. Yeah, it's like my opinion.
Yeah, it's really cool. I think your attitude is really clear right now. I've got your message. Uh, Thanks for the valuable presentation today, and we've so been so glad to have you here today. And for our developers here in the bootcamp, if you want to have your projects reaching out to Dora Hacks, feel free to reach out Steve or contact me or either ChainIDE and BNB Chain. So we are glad to share our projects and we are glad to help our developers to do our VCs. So try to help your projects grow. Okay, so I think this is going to be the end of the today's session. So thank you, Steve, and or thank you for all the participants.
Yeah,
Bye
yeah.
bye.
Thank you, Kevin, for having me. Thank you, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me or DoraHacks team. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. See ya. Bye bye.